Hey, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kiss Allen Experience, Step Up to Leadership. I am Kiss Allen, your host. And today, as usual, we're going to talk about all things leadership, lifestyle, sports in general. Today, we have a man about town, an eclectic thinker, witty, bulletproof thinker, right? Think outside the box. Anytime I'm out and about talking to this brother about leadership, lifestyle, and sports, he's dropping mad nuggets. I want us to welcome to the platform, Step Up to Leadership, the Kiss Allen Experience, Mr. Mike Malone.
Al, my man.
What's happening, man?
Always a pleasure. Great for having me on here.
I appreciate it, man. We have spent many days fellowshipping. We found ourselves over in the corner just getting into some deep thought. And I said, I got to get this brother on the platform to share those nuggets and empower my listeners around leadership, once again, lifestyle, and obviously sports.
Got to talk all that.
So talk to me a little bit, man. Who is Mike, right? I see you out and about, you know.
Yeah.
Who is Mike?
Mike just a laid back guy, man. I grew up on the low end.
Okay.
Ida B. Wells, you know, come up from there, move out south. I had a little bit of it all. So I grew up in Ida B. Wells, went to school in Inglewood, then moved out to the 90s. So that's why I know so many guys in the street, so many brothers. And it's always fun, you know, play baseball, a little basketball all the time. So that's why I'm able to talk that talk. I wasn't as good as all you guys, so I had to think more.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You always bring an incredibly interesting dynamic to the setup.
Okay.
That was where I was gonna go. Did you play any organized sports?
Yeah. I played. You know what now? My claim to fame.
Okay.
And I say this all the time. I led a team in scoring with Juwan Howard and Johnny Melvin on it.
All right.
We had St. Charles of Wanda, and they pretty much
we will verify this.
Hey, true story. We played for Ferrari. I mean, not Ferrari, I'm sorry, the Flash.
Okay.
St. Charles of Wanda. You can ask Silo, all them, we beat them.
Okay.
But they wouldn't guard me. You had to pick your poison. There's Trevon Hughes, Johnny Melvin, Juwan Howard, Willie Jackson. Hey, all right, leave him open. Lit their ass up. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering, they might have my jersey over there. We're going to ride past that one day and see. It might be up there.
See, you find out something new every day. My man is up in the rafters somewhere in and around Chicago.
Oh, man. Well, you know, that was way before the AAU circuit that took over all this. So I played with Showtime, Tanya Johnson, great Coach Johnson. I'm sorry. I never, you know, everybody get their respect. Coach Johnson. I played for Ferrari, of course, with the Coach Slaughter.
Yes.
You know, the Flashers, Kodar Lewis. Yeah, we Sherwood, Kenwood, St. Charles of Wanda, St. Sabina, St. Angela, all that. Did that. Played at Harlan for a couple of years, played baseball at Harlan. But I know these guys, everybody, all y'all, just from being in the streets, being in the gym.
Okay.
And just loving being around good brothers.
Being all in and around, man. You always, like I said, you always bring an extremely interesting dynamic. And when you talk, people kind of galvanize around
that's good.
That circle, right?
Yeah.
And that, to me, that means you dropping nuggets. So you say you low end, the 90s.
Yeah, Inglewood. Can't forget Inglewood.
Inglewood, right?
You know, St. Martin, 59th and Princeton.
59th and Princeton. So you came up you came up during the time, because you came out of high school when?
89.
89, right around the time I came up.
Right.
So you came up around the time where there was a lot of hands-on coaching.
That's everything, yeah.
A lot of touch points.
Yeah.
Your coach could go upside your head.
And
not that that's a good thing, but he could discipline you.
I kind of think it's a good thing.
Yup.
You know?
So talk to me about what makes a good leader.
First of all, having your own opinion.
Okay.
You know, never gonna say that I don't listen to what people say, but I'm gonna take what Al said and I'm gonna put it in to what I'm thinking and see how it worked for me.
Okay.
You know, I listen to Minister Farrakhan, but I understand that what he's saying comes from a much older man.
Okay.
So he's seen more than me. You know, he witnessed racism more up close and personal. So I can't take that whole point of view and put it all in me because I ain't witnessed that as much. But I am gonna add everything that people bring and make that gumbo real nice when I put my own little herbs and spices on.
You talk about leadership. Along the way, what are some leaders that you could call out that you know had a major influence on how you grew up and how you do things?
Well, I'm pretty sure all blacks gonna say Muhammad Ali first of all.
Okay.
You know, way before sports, it was just the fact that he wouldn't be pushed over. I'm gonna stand for this. And as I got older and understood more about it, that's one of the main ones that just took off of me in sports.
Okay.
Now I had other ones as far as coaches growing up. You know, when I saw these men, Coach Wise and down in Lake Grove Village,
Okay.
who had families, but they got up and took after us every day. You know, once you become an adult and realize working and then coming to do something that you're not getting paid for to make sure that we become better men, all the stuff that we don't see now, you know, so most of my heroes and leaders are your average guy. Once you see how much it takes to do this, you can just think about it. A regular 9 to 5, you be tired. It's called a 9 to 5, but your day probably started at 5 a.m. getting up to go do it. You know, so that's why I'm a big believer in you don't pay me for my work, you pay me for my time. You know, because that whole day is 16 to 18 hours. And if me and you all getting the same, we're doing the same amount of hours, I'm not gonna wake up and let you get that much more than me. Now, that ain't gonna happen.
So I want to shout out all the brothers that's out there working in Boys and Girls Clubs, working in the Park District. You know you putting in extra time, but understand that your work is making a difference. You hear it.
And it don't go unnoticed. You know, we need more, way more of that. You know, when me and you was growing up, we respected anybody that was over us. You know, certain things that me and you would say we would never say in the company of them. And all of that didn't change now. And that's because you don't have these guys that, not saying you got to be a father figure, but just say, bro, that ain't how
it influence. It was funny, man. I was hooping the other day, and I can remember back in the days when the big guy started on one end of the court and you were shooting, they said, hey, let us get that court.
We move out the way.
You moved out the way. Well, we were playing and they just kept shooting. Like, we're gonna get out your way. To me, something as small as that is the change that I see. Obviously, there's a new generation, right? But it's small things like that.
The small thing is when it becomes what we got going on outside now. Because they don't give us the respect. When we grew up, when somebody was older than us,
whether you knew them or not.
Hey, man. And then day by day, we become the one on the other end of that court.
It was a written rule. You show respect, you get respect.
And that goes with anything. When you're parenting, when you're teaching, when you know, I'm never going to talk down to you because that makes you think that I think little of you. And that's not going to work.
They need us. They need it. It's so funny. We're going to move on, man. Current events. I know that, and we'll get back to more about Mike here, but some current events here. Scotty just wrote a book, man. And he's just in the news a whole lot. He's in the news a whole lot. The Casale Experience, Step Up to Leadership. We got my main man, Mike Malone, in the building today. Mike, what's your social media handles?
Well, you can, my email. Everybody email me.
Okay.
Michael.Malone33@yahoo.com. Facebook, I'm Mike Boog Malone. And on Instagram, I'm Hollywood Mike.
Hollywood Mike. Just wanted to get that dropped in there. Scotty's been in the news, man. He made mention that Mike was, that Phil was a racist. He made mention of a few other components. How do you feel about him going outside of what they built over his time there in Chicago? Because it don't seem like he needs the money. What do you think his motivation is for saying that?
The last day.
Talk to me about that. Because I know you and I talked about that.
The last dance. When it's so much to start with. This. Okay, so first, when you're a guy that got 6 rings, and you know how much you brought to this team,
talk to me,
but you never get the respect that you think you deserve. And he always played the back fiddle, you know, from what, 87, 86, all the way through. Sometimes you get fed up with it. You know,
well, we almost 30 years out, man. I mean,
nobody said that a year and a half ago when Michael put that on TV. You know, when you the director, you got the last say so on how this gonna go. You putting everything on the cutting floor. He called that man. Now let's be honest. which I know it's taboo to say anything bad about Michael, unless you Juanita. But on the Kids House show, I can say what I want to say. So he starts off by saying it would be no Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen.
He did.
I wouldn't have 6 rings without Scottie Pippen.
He did.
But then he turned around and called the man selfish. And he showed footage of Scottie and Tony on a team that Michael wasn't on. Why even put that in there?
When we're referencing to when Phil called to play for Tony,
right,
and Scottie wouldn't go back in the game.
And see, so for me to be like, hey, Al, you did all this, but now let me show this about Al. That's like me complimenting a woman by saying, hey, baby, you ain't all that other. How far you think that's gonna fly? You know what I mean? How far this gonna fly? You think I'm gonna get a second date? You ain't all that other. All right. So when you put that out there, and he did not have to do that.
Okay.
But he did it to be a better Mike. I gotta be this way. You know, he showed a lot of stuff that you wanted to see.
So Scottie, in this essence, you feel like everybody got their last dance version of what went on. And so this is just Scottie. Maybe then Tony said.
Well, Scottie can't get the ESPN deal and this. And now let's all be for real. They've been going at Mike for the last 25, 30 years to put this out. He didn't want to do it. Right. It's only one reason he's doing this now, LeBron James, but we're not going to say anything about that.
He's trying to submit.
Oh, he got to make sure, you know what I mean, that he stays out there.
And the Jordans not doing it?
They should be.
Okay.
But it's like Hennessy and the iPhone. You know, everybody going to buy them anyway. So, them could have been the AC Green shoe. We don't know. They just hot. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest, Al. So when you're a person like Scottie Pippen and you hear them say, well, LeBron can't do it without this. KD can't do it without this. Curry can't do it without this. Mike did it by himself.
Like, no.
I know that this man didn't win a playoff series without me. I know that this man is 1-10 his first 11 playoff games without me. So let's not just, sports became, it's more of a reality show now with the Skip Baylesses and the Stephen A. Smiths. And you got a lot of guys that can't have their own opinion, so they listen to this and they run with it. So I'm old enough, I was at the stadium, not the United Center. I'm talking about the one across the street that smelled like Ringling Brothers, where they come out of gate 3.5. You know, I watch the Bucks kick Mike ass every day. I watch Detroit kick Mike ass every day. You know, but we only say 6 seasons. So Scottie like, oh, I got a lot to do with them 6 seasons, dog.
A lot. I mean, when he got there, that's when that thing counted.
They was the first. They called them the Dobermans. They was the first dog. When you got a 6'9" Horace Grant that's gonna be on the point of that defense, and then Mike and Scottie spreading their arms like this, that's ridiculous. Then you better it with Rodman and Kukoc, and they was the first group of athletes. Not to mention a Hall of Fame GM, a Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame assistant coach. Damn, I think I can win on that team.
So we're gonna chalk that up to Scottie in his feelings a little bit.
Yeah, but you want to put your side out. He don't have the Scottie shoe. He don't have the ESPN. He do the little, analysts on there, but he want to get his side out. Now he got to do this book. Everybody in Chicago gonna hate him.
Yeah. That's what I always pattern in my defensive game after Scottie. Scottie had excellent footwork that you could always watch, and he wasn't scared to attack that rim. And so to see him now, part of it, right, is the social media, and it gets you caught up a little bit. Like, why you
over the last year and a half, what he probably had to take me in from what this guy was saying about him, and a lot less people don't want to say the truth. A lot of that stuff not supposed to be opened up.
What'd you say? What happened in that locker room? Stay in that locker room.
Come on, man. If I'm your man, the last thing I'm supposed to do when we fall out or something happens is to expose your business.
Yeah, because in the streets that.
Ain't nothing else we can, now we're at that age, you're not gonna put your hands on nobody, but it's nothing else you can ever say to me.
We all done with that. And so shouts out, Scottie. We appreciate you.
We still love you. You was a big part of the 6.
Do what you gotta do, man. And it
don't hurt. He gonna get a couple dollars out of it.
And Scottie, I'm feeling the hair, man. I appreciate you letting go a little bit.
You know why that hair like that. Future. But I'm not going.
I'm not touching that.
But Future take your old lady, then all of a sudden you come with, man, he look like he making trap music.
I'm not touching that. That's my man.
All me. All right.
Next current topic. I saw in the news that Bill Cosby was being released.
Yeah.
I saw that Bill Cosby was being released, and we talked a little bit about this. There are two sides to this.
Always.
Right? Obviously, I wanted to see Bill Cosby released just based on a lot of the other things that are happening.
He was our father. Everybody grew up to this guy.
I didn't want to see him go out like that.
Right.
What are your thoughts on him being released?
Once again, as a black man, we both happy, but I sit back and I like to look at both sides, and I want to make sure, is this fair? So you told me 2.5 years ago that this guy was guilty. Today you tell me it's vacated. Not only is it not, we just saying it ain't even happened. What about them 50 women? I find it hard to believe that you can get 50 people alive. I just find, you know what I mean? So whenever it's smoke, it's a little fire. And the man came out and admitted that he did this stuff. He sat there and he said, yeah, I sprinkled the love. You know what I mean? But the system is just so flawed because now you probably do, if it wasn't all 50, you probably do have one woman that feels this guy did me wrong. And he pretty much.
Now, how much time did he do?
He went in 18. So this 21, a little over 2.5 years.
A little over 2 years, 2.5 years. A leader in our community for the longest time. Uptown Saturday Night, let's do it again. I always looked at Bill Cosby, and then obviously the Cosby Show. Growing up, I always looked at him in admiration, and I'd like to learn just more about the release,
we'll hear a lot more now.
Right.
And now let's be fair. They did come to Bill a couple of weeks ago and said if he registered as a sex offender and all this, he could get out, and he said no.
Okay.
So maybe this guy really do think, all of this was on the up and up. We all have been in positions where we did something so much we think it's right too.
Yeah.
So that's a touchy situation.
Keep him prayed up.
Right. And just think, when that show first came on, I remember Black saying it's phony because who has a lawyer and a doctor for parents? And now you actually starting to see,
two working parents in the house doing their thing.
When Puff Daddy and them first came on the scene, they wasn't holding 40 ounces. They didn't have on skull caps. They was driving Rolls Royces and Versace shirts.
And everybody's
like, no, that ain't what. But now look where we at.
Shiny.
Yeah, look where we at now. You can't even drive down the street in the Benz now. What is that? Get that out. You know what I'm saying? So, and I got one, but I mean, it just shows you.
That's so real.
It goes both sides. Because back then in the 80s, we thought this was unbelievable.
Yeah.
No way you got a doctor and a lawyer in the same household. All the kids go to college, ain't nothing.
Like y'all going to school?
Everybody going to school.
You going up in her room, sitting on her bed, talking to your daughter?
Right.
So
we loved them. Yeah. Big ups to Bill.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget the victims on every.
I hope everybody's healing is to the level that they can get past it and continue to move on. George Floyd. There was a sentencing last week. The police officer was sentenced to 22 and a half. What's that? 150 months?
Equal out to good behavior 15 years.
15 years. I saw that you posted something around 15 years.
Yeah. Which I think is a big slap in the face because how can you tell me because he's a cop, he should get less time? It should go the other way around. Because if anybody know better, it's you.
They're held to a different responsibility.
Yeah. My job, I was a fireman, I was a paramedic. I'm the first responder. My job is to make sure you're okay, not to come in and make the situation worse. So a cop's job is to serve and protect. Where was the serving and the protection at for 9 minutes and 29 seconds when you was on this guy's neck?
I think it goes back, right? Kids Allen experience, step up to leadership. Got my man Mike Malone in the building. I think it goes back to just what we're talking about, right? the value of leadership or the value of influence.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we don't really listen to ourselves in terms of the amount of influence that we have in certain situations, right? You could be a CEO of a company, but then you get in a certain situation and you're not the most important person
At all.
right? But you can be a CEO of a company and realize that now it's time for you to exercise your influence. I think what happened in that situation, and this is a kissism, I think that sometimes you get this energy that comes in our community and has prejudged a lot of who they think we are, what they think we are. And with that authority, right? With that influence.
Only thing about that is being a cop, you can't wake up like that. You got to think totally different. As a cop, I can't look at you and just say bad.
Right.
And handle that situation that way. And once I start doing that, I'm a bad cop.
Or bundling it all in the same.
Everybody's not the same.
That's the one thing, and it takes time, it takes effort, right? It takes for you to get in. They say, what? I gotta get to know you, I gotta like you, and then I trust you, right? Those are the 3 steps. I think that if they get into some situations, because I know they're gonna be plotted out within our community, just cops in general, right? Because to be honest with you, it's some bad white cops, it's some not so good black cops. I mean, this spans across, right? And so I think what happens is know you, like you, trust you. That's what's important to me. And from a leadership perspective, you gotta understand the power of your influence.
Yeah.
And you can't abuse.
It's so much that go into when you put that uniform on. You know, and it's sad to say, when me and you grew up, we respected that uniform.
Yes.
These guys out there now don't respect it because of a lot of things that's going on. And it go hand in hand. Because as a cop, your first job is to make it home to your family.
That's a good point.
So I can't put everybody in that one bundle, but what we saw with George Floyd was wrong. This guy did everything the right way.
Yeah, he did.
The other guys that didn't grab the taser or then fought back, me and you as black men know, once I take that step the other way, I'm opening up the door to a whole bunch of, you know what I mean? Not saying that it's right, but I started that ball rolling.
My thought got to be, I got to get home to my family.
That's the first thing.
So what do you
Yes, sir. No, sir. What do you need me to do? You know, it's sad that as a black man, you got to teach your son or daughter to have their work ID or school ID in front of their license.
Readily available.
Yeah, in front of my license. So when I get pulled over, you're going to see this first. Okay, now that eases up. Okay, well, yeah,
this person knows they're complying and so forth, and that's all we got control of.
Only thing, once them lights come on, it's sad to say that you at their mercy now.
10 and 2, hand on the steering wheel.
I don't want no problem.
As a father of a 22-year-old,
it got scared. Yeah,
right. It does, and he loved driving. He like his daddy. He feel like he a driver. And so often I try to tell him, it ain't necessarily about you, son.
Right.
Right. How you moving around out here sometimes, you just got to keep your head on the swivel. And so we're going to continue to work on that within our communities. As mentioned, every opportunity I get, put your seatbelt on. If you ever see me out,
and it's funny, we used to ride around no seatbelt. When we was young, you didn't even have Malone. You didn't have to have a seatbelt on. Man, kids used to sit in the front. You used to sit on your mama's lap
and drive. You see somebody right now without a seatbelt on.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
You don't love your kids.
Man, we used to lean that seat all the way back.
Y'all wear them seatbelts. Every time y'all get in the car, no matter who it is, put a seatbelt on the back seat, third row. Yeah. Put your seatbelt on. Moving on, we got these super teams. That we like to talk about, right? And it's an interesting setup, because we could even say back in the days that Boston had a super team, or the Lakers had a super team. But nowadays, when we see these guys jumping to play with certain people, most notably Durant, what you think went on over there? They didn't play the whole season together. What you think went on over there this year?
First, we got a bunch of divas. Okay. Now, On the court, I'm a huge Kyrie fan. The
Okay.
handle, being able to finish with both hands, in the
Okay.
paint, doing all this, but he's not one of these leaders that we talk about. He's nobody I want in my locker room.
Mm.
You know, I look at the little things, like you said, I think outside the box. Why did I see him celebrating on the bench this year in the playoffs with Brooklyn, but he wasn't on that bench with Boston?
Last year.
Yeah. Didn't even come to the games. That says a lot.
Mm.
You know, so you put him with Durant, who might be the greatest scorer I ever seen.
Oh.
You know, so I'm gonna tell you, I tell the truth about it. He might be the great. He scores so easy. I know this might hurt some of the Michael Jordan fans, but
I'm sitting there like,
he's 7 feet. You can't guard him nowhere on the floor.
He get that left or right,
and you're not gonna make him change his shot.
See, then I go into that's something else we talk because then I go into the way he's defended. You can't. It's a different defensive world we live in. You can't touch nobody. They can move around. They can roam around.
Yeah, but
right?
I watched PJ Tucker touch him up, and he had him look confused for a little bit, but then he
figured it out.
Yeah,
figured it
he's
out.
7 feet. He can do whatever he
Was
wants.
it a lack? I think you hit on it. Was it a lack of leadership in that locker room over in Brooklyn this year?
A whole bunch. A whole bunch. You put 3 guys on the team who never was lead dogs.
Okay.
It was no question that Kevin Durant was the best player on Golden State. But they did a lot of that without him. They knew it, he knew it.
Mm.
And them guys had the grit and the know-how to win. You just blew a 3-1 lead to me. Not only was it a 3-1 lead, but you was up by double figures in the last 3 games.
Yes.
And you shot the worst you ever shot before. Didn't go to, if me and you up double figures, all right, it's time to get to this free throw line. Let's extend this lead.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna keep shooting these jump shots and get them a chance to get back in the game.
Yeah.
But the game has changed so much where, you know, the last play against Milwaukee, when he tied the game up, if he have a smaller shoe, but
game over.
Why are you even letting him catch the ball? Basketball 1-on-1, okay, me and you double him. We gonna let Joe Harris make the 2. If he make the 2, we go to overtime, cool. He not beating me.
And he missed by that much. Game 7, sending them boys home.
Yeah.
That was huge.
And you want to know something they say that he wear a bigger shoe.
Then so what he's supposed to.
Yeah, he wear like a 15 or something. He wear a size 16 because it's comfortable. So
that was different. So a lot of this comes down. We've talked about a number of topics: Scotty, Bill, George Floyd. A lot of it comes down to leadership and different aspects of leadership and how do you get better in it, or how do you become a better listener? And in your estimation, as we work with this younger generation and continue to put out good quality information like this, what are 3 basic things we just need to get back to as a society?
First is communication.
Okay.
You know, you walk in a room or a store. When I grew up, if you walked in a room and didn't speak, it was something wrong. It was a problem.
Okay.
You know, so communication.
Okay.
Listening.
Good listening.
Got to be able to listen. These young guys got a lot on their chest they need to get off. And if right now, they don't think they have a lot of people to turn to and to talk to.
Mm.
You know?
Communication, listen.
And then we just got to come together. Not saying it's hard to do now with everything that's going on. And even though we want to be that leader outside, but it's so bad that we got to walk away and say we can't do this. But it's not going to get better until we are able to get all 3 of them together.
So it's interesting. You said communication, which enables trust.
Yeah.
Which includes listening, which I would tell you listening is the least skill set that we use in our community. I think the internet and all this technology has made everybody the smartest. Yeah. Right. And even it was funny, right? And I keep using my son as an example, but I was talking one day and he Googled what I said and he corrected me in front of my friends and I got salty.
Yeah.
Right.
We wouldn't have never did that growing up.
First of all, we would have never did that. And second of all, just let it be what it is. Everybody.
Okay, now I got a question.
Okay.
That let it be what it is, even though he know his father wrong. Is that because we grew up to where you just respect an adult because they're an adult, or, and I don't even know the situation. Could he have been like, I don't know, my father be wrong, and he's standing on this. Let me. So we gotta.
Which knowing my son's intentions, that's what his intentions were, right?
Because if I let you keep on yelling out the wrong stuff, and I'm sitting there knowing it's wrong,
shame on you. Shame on you. I guess I use that example when I think about this Google and how it just runs our existence. How the internet, soon as something come up, let me check.
My daughter was doing the e-learning all this semester. And I showed her, I said, well, there's no reason you should get anything wrong. You got your computer right here, you got your phone right here. When you got trying to find the word, say the word in the Google, it's gonna come up. When me and you grew up, we had to know how to do all this stuff. Now all they got to do is get the answer.
It's that they figure.
They taught me the Constitution. I had to know fractions, and now they just, our teacher walked up to us. If you was counting on your fingers, she hit your hand.
You had to, but you always had to show your work.
Now you just got to get to it.
You can show the answer, and you're good.
That's it.
You can show the answer.
It's that bottom line, the Floyd Mayweather effect.
You can show the answer. You can show the answer, you good. Hey, this is the Silent Experience, Step Up to Leadership. Got my man, Mike Malone, in the building. You can follow him on his Instagram. Where?
Instagram is Hollywood Mike. Facebook is Mike Boog Malone.
Mike Boog Malone. I'm telling you, watch this cat. Some of the things that he posts, it's funny, it's interesting, but it's witty.
I like to keep a lot of humor, but
that's right.
You got to keep it funky and keep it real.
It makes you think. That emoji 100 was made for him. This segment of the show, man, we call it Take Off Your Clothes.
Okay.
Right? Take off your clothes. Today, I know we are in the month of June. My birthday was yesterday. Big ups, 52 years old. That's what's up. Y'all see me, I done broke my finger. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, it's Pride Month. And we talked a lot about how we've come a long way in our understanding of this culture. And so in this segment of Take Off Our Clothes, talk a little bit about how far you've come and just understanding the culture and, quite honestly, some of the benefits of really beginning to understand what the culture is all about.
You know what's crazy is, to show you how far we came, we wouldn't even have this conversation. Years back, 10 years back.
Yeah.
It
wouldn't have went on.
Because people, well, you defending them or you must be this, and we all guilty of it. We can use words and slander that we would never use again.
Yes, never.
But that was ignorance on our part, not knowing. And like you said, we just know so much more about it. It's that communication. It's that that's the key. Right. And it might not be for us, but hell, vegetables not for a lot of us. That don't mean that you just throw it away. So I know that I judge people by experiences and what they've done to me. I'm never gonna just walk in the room and dislike you because of your color, your gender, or whatever you want to be.
Mm-hmm. So
being a Black man that grew up in Ida B. Wells, I've came a long way because that didn't fly with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's more just understanding and, hey man, whatever floats your boat, I'm cool with it. As long as you're not harming people. So
human beings.
And we all got our own flavor, man.
Yes.
I love all women. Some people only like Black women. Some people only like fat women. I like green, yellow. As long as they women, I'm a go.
You good. You like,
and I'm single, so you get it. Oh man, I can say that now.
I was about to say. So it's good, man. I appreciate you going there. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. It was a taboo subject. You just didn't say anything about it, right?
Only thing we said stuff about it was bad. And now as a grown man, we understand how totally wrong we was.
You grow and you learn, and you, to your point, right? You just created your hedgehog, right? To turn this thing around, to get us going in a direction from a leadership perspective. You said we got to communicate better.
Got to communicate.
Part of that is just being a really active listener. To that point, I think that skill set is one of the most underserved skill sets, in particular in our community. We just not real good. Listen, it's like double dutch. You just standing there waiting your turn to talk, right? Do you want to be?
But the whole time while you watching what they doing and listening to what, and a lot of people don't.
You know,
and we all been guilty of it. I'm not gonna say a lot of people because I know I do it a lot of
times.
It's
good. It's good because that's what this is about, right? That's about us growing and just saying, okay, let me sit back for a minute, right? Sometimes we get caught up in the messenger and miss the message, right?
Yeah.
I know that's a big thing in the community that I'm in. The other part is just I think we've gotten away from not necessarily not feeling comfortable with not knowing. I think that not knowing now makes you feel like you not in crowd or you like you don't know, right? Because it's so much social media.
Somebody put that on you like that, you're afraid to find out. You're not gonna ask the question that you would have asked. Yeah.
I think that it's okay. If I could say that, I think that it's okay with not knowing. I think in some instances, and I'll go on the limb and say this, stupidity is liberating because letting everybody know everything you know ain't always the right.
It's not the right
way of going about getting your thing done. And so there are times where I literally just sit and listen, right? And people will tell you everything that you want to know. This is the Casale Experience, Step Up to Leadership. We in the building with my main man, Mike. Talk to me. We're going to finish out here strong. What's on your mind? I know you're a dad.
Yeah, I got a 9-year-old little girl. That's crazy. Coming out of this e-learning experience, which, hey, big ups to every parent that had to do this.
Okay.
I don't know how it worked if you had to go to work. I've been off over a year. You know, I caught COVID back in April of 2020.
Okay.
And it attacked my heart.
Okay.
And my heart was functioning at 19%.
Wow.
Okay, so I was on my way out of here. So this gave me a whole different outlook on life. But just being able to wake up with her every morning, turn that computer on and help her do this, because kids are sponges, but they need that hands-on. You know, and not only was it the kids that was learning, but the teachers had never taught this way. So talking to somebody through a computer is not going to get picked up, you know, if you're not having that hands-on. So I really, so once again, it was a blessing that I went through this at the same time when she was at home and I was able to do this. So she didn't fall, you know, behind, and that's just been awesome. You know, I love being a father. And it's crazy because everybody laughed that I waited till I was 40. But I think it was the best thing for me. I wouldn't have been a good father early. I was a selfish guy. I like to hang out. I ran the streets. You know what I mean? This actually put me in a lane where I love doing this. I don't have to be out on Fridays. Don't have to be out on Saturdays. You know, so
that's watch the game. She go run and get your nachos.
She wear the Brown jersey. She do everything with me. You know what I mean? So that's right up my alley. I love it. But it's just it's crazy, man.
That's a good thing, man, to hear you, just to watch your face light up when you talk about your daughter. That topic came up when we talked about just men in general, that how much I just want them to want a relationship.
Oh man, I can't
with their kids.
Being a father now, not just a parent, I can't see how you don't want to be in their life. And with everything that's going on in these streets, you know, I'm supposed to be in your kids. Like all of us, that's one thing I think that we don't do good enough. Okay. The way all of us hang out and fellowship and do this, our kids should know each other. And be in each other. We can go anywhere in this city and everybody will say, oh, that's Mike Malone, that's Casale. It should be the same way for your son. Wow. It should be the same way for my daughter. They should be okay if they get stuck out west. They should be okay because you got people over there. You know, it's just that we don't fellowship like that. So that should be our next thing, and that'll open up that communication and us getting together, because they're gonna have some friends that's gonna want to come around because their parents not doing all of this like that. But that's how we grew up. Whether you was at Harlem, whether I was at Lincoln Park, when we came into each other's vicinity, whether it was through sports, right? Because sports brought a lot of that locker room is something different, man. Or when we were coming up at disco. The Mendels, the downtown parties, all that. Right? And although we were in our little groups, but everybody kind of knew being out, and you see, it's beautiful to see all of us as adults and everybody get along.
Yes.
You know, and it's just so crazy with everything that's going on now. You hear a bunch of words or sayings that you didn't hear. Hey, be safe.
Yes.
Hey, I love you.
Put your seatbelt on.
Yeah,
Get up out of there.
We don't. For a long time, we lost all that. The compassion. You know, with the George Floyd, that man had no compassion when he had him on the ground. For that to be going on and to see that man, you know, urinate on himself, to see this, you know what's going on doing it. And the look on his face. The look on his face was like, yeah, I can do what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, so
tough. That was tough.
We got to bring that all back together. It's no way like when I introduce people to my daughter, hey, that's your uncle. Hey, this is this. That's what, yeah. You got a huge family. Don't ever think you got to go through stuff alone. You know, it might be some stuff that your son don't want to say there, but he said, oh, well, let me call the crazy guy. Yeah. And maybe he can give me something, you know, that
we got to get back to that. That's the way we was born.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it was. More trust outside the home. The guy that ran the Boys and Girls Club up there.
Talk to him about anything. When you got to get stuff off your chest, ain't nothing like getting stuff off. You know, and I think a lot of these young guys just hold in so much, and that might bring in the drugs and all the things that me and you didn't do. You know, we snuck and got a little wine once we got a little older. Yeah, but none of this crazy stuff where they going now that got them. I'm a firm believer that a lot of these guys don't know what they did till they wake up in that bullpen and they didn't sober up. Because to do some of this stuff that they doing, that stuff that happened on 87 last week, you had to be off something. Like to get out of that car in a shot with a shotgun in broad daylight and walk between, you had to be zooted.
That ain't nothing that you and your right mind. Ain't nobody done nothing to you.
We all have been mad at somebody and be like, oh, I can't even get him right now. Because you don't want everybody to see it. Whether it's just punching him upside his head or doing something.
We weren't doing that.
No, man, no. If one person had a gun,
right,
it made it all around the city, and you was like, oh, they ain't fighting over there now. When we was growing up, you might get moved on or mollywopped or
somebody come up behind you, steal you.
Yeah, you get a bucket head, but you ain't gonna be dead.
You dead to see tomorrow.
Yeah. You laugh about it.
You go down that, and them quiet as kept them become some of your best friends in the whole wide world.
I got some people that I fought all through high school with. We see each other at the reunion, we hug, and the kids, everybody be looking like, how could they? Well, we was kids.
That's it.
You know, and you're not gonna see eye to eye. That's the greatest thing that we got. I'm not supposed to. You, my main man. If we saw eye to eye on everything, how far you think that friendship go?
You gotta beef a little bit, and I gotta challenge you.
Yeah. No, that's gonna make you gonna go back home, you gonna think about it, listen to what he said, and you put it into how it works for you.
It's a certain respect, man, that I think we gotta continue to fight for, especially the group that we're around all the time.
We got a great group of guys, man.
We gotta continue to fight, especially for our young black men and our young black women. Let me stop saying that.
We got a black woman vice president, man.
That's it.
You know what I mean? That's huge there. Love Obama, but we got a black woman vice president. You know how big that is? We got to continue to fight for these kids. We got to continue to fight for these programs, and we got to continue to get in front of them. One of the things that we're working with here at the Kiss Allen Experience is just a storytelling platform. And I think it speaks to what you just talked about, where we'll give students an opportunity just to get up and talk. It ain't poetry. Right. You ain't got to rap. Right. I just want you to get up and tell me
get
about
it off
you and let it. Get it off. You won't believe. You know, I didn't tell you a lot of this earlier. I traded at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Okay. People look at me and be like, "Get the hell out of here." I was a paramedic. Can you imagine that? You done seen me out in my element. Yeah. And now imagine me be the one that come to your door when your mother's stretched out on the floor. You like, oh no.
But say it live.
And that's for them to see you in that whole different element. They're like, wait a second. So I say that to let people know it's out there. You can do a lot of.
It's so funny, man. We be standing out. I'd be like, police.
Yeah.
He got 3 food trucks. He owned 2 laundromats. You know, just and we out there hollering, screaming, just having a good time.
Just having a great time, man. Because we still got that youth in us. Our youth wasn't scarred by killing and not liking each other.
It wasn't.
Our youth was by competitive basketball or baseball or just talking smack to each other and laughing and chasing girls.
See you grow up and be like you glow up about your daughter and think, to me, that fills my heart.
That's when you know you're a man.
Right?
You know when
that fills my heart, right? And so we're gonna end here, man. But I want to thank you. I know we talked about this quite a bit. Once this is all done, we're gonna make sure. But man, leave us. You gave us a hedgehog, right? When you talked about for us to get back communication, listening, and trust, right? Leave us from a leadership perspective around sports, lifestyle, just the culture in general. Leave us with what you want us to remember about Mike here as a leader here on the Kid Sound Experience Step Up to Leadership.
Well, the first thing, like I said about being a leader, you got to be your own person.
Okay.
You know, it's going to be hard for me to talk to the little dude on the street if this is what he heard coming from somebody else already and it didn't work for him. You know, so the fact that we can communicate and tell them stories. I did grow up in Ida B. Wells. I went to school in Inglewood. You know, I was the only one that was from this side of the tracks coming playing with all you guys and was accepted. So
yes,
being a leader, you gotta be, and there's no size on no leader. I'm not the tallest guy, I'm not the biggest guy. Like I said, my heart was at 19%, but I think I got the biggest heart around. If I believe in something, I'm gonna stand on it, I'm gonna go with it. And I think that's what make you, you know, it would have been easy for Martin Luther King to do what everybody else did.
When they went left, he went
I
right.
gotta go over here.
It stood on.
You know, but then think about the change that we was talking about when you think about the leader like Malcolm X. He did all the backsliding, the gambling, the drugging. But then he became one of our most outgoing. My God. You know, if you just listen to this guy speak, you would never think words can make you feel a certain way until you know what I mean? So, and that's the thing, we gotta communicate. Over at Fernwood, you used to have the shorties that used to come over at Ada and they'll just sit around and listen to us talk. And you can see in their eyes that they take it. Some of them don't care, but the couple that's taking it in, they be like, oh, these old guys got a bunch of wisdom.
That's all they do.
You know, and then our crew now, we got guys that then brought their sons around and they done brought their friends around, they listen to us. And we a big part of their lives now. You know? Hey, okay, I see them out. Hey, you good? You this, you that. When I had a girl, hey, how you know that little dude? Who is that? How you know what I mean? But that goes back to with our kids too. Not saying that it's right, but I want my daughter to know that bad nigga over there.
Right.
Because he gonna be the one that's gonna look out for her and get everything straight.
When you somewhere you look up, you somebody that came to snatch some food up off you or something.
And that's the one.
That's
you know, so being a leader, it goes to just listening and giving you knowledge. You know, hey man, I've been in your shoes. That's the first thing, the best thing you can tell somebody, hey man, I understand.
Empathize. Not sympathize. Empathize.
Now, let's work with how we're gonna get this better.
That's it. So I hear listening, communication, and trust. You continue to go back
to those
three factors. We want to thank my man, Mike Malone, for joining the platform today. Has dropped some incredible nuggets. This is going to view within the next 2 days. You'll see it up live, but we want to appreciate him, right? And as we go through the city and we build these programs, it's gentlemen like this that's just going to get us back on track, because he's going to keep it 100 with the whole situation. Always imparting. This has been the Kid Sound Experience, Step Up to Leadership. Always remember, fly low, avoid the radar, and remember, no matter what happens, when they come for the car, save the radio. Peace.